Hello, everybody. We're going to do a get started with trying to understand how large language models work. Now, really, large language models are really not artificial intelligence, but they are very, very smart computer algorithms. Large language models are what's behind all of our AI frenzy that's been going on. They're trained on huge sets of data, which is why they're called large language models. And you can read through this. LLM is really a predictor. It's like a very sophisticated text predictor. Let's take a look at it. A transformer is something that helps the LLM work. And it's based on the concept of attention. So if you do making, it knows that some of the time making the registration or voting process is what happens after making, or making more, or making making laws since 2009. So it has oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of text associations. Let's see. We are going to take a look at how LLMs work using Hugging Face. It's an open source spot where you can download different models. Different large language models and experiment with them on your own and make your own AI. Earlier in the tutorial, the next step in the tutorial is to create a Hugging Face account. So you head over to huggingface.co. You would go in here and sign up, fill out whatever you need. You have to do the, verify your email and all that. But once you get done, you'll be to some place like this. You'll want to go up here and let's see, access tokens. And then you want to create a new token. Then you would copy this token. We're going to need it later. In the tutorial, it would have taken you to There it is. It would have taken you to this. Make sure that when you open up the LLM with Hugging Face Workshop, that you did File and save a copy in Drive so you have a copy for yourself to work on. And then you would have ended up looking through this. The next step, we go over to our left-hand side of Google Colab, and you would add a new secret, paste in the value, and then turn it on. So I've activated this secret key, my Hugging Face token is what I called it, for this notebook. You have to activate it for each notebook. All right, so that's done. And this gives you the steps. It says click notebook instead of N-O-T. All right, let's make sure we get that corrected. All right, the next step says installing the Hugging Face Transformers library. Well, some of it's already installed. I just put both of them. Transformers is already installed, but I figure at some point they're going to update something. This also installs some data sets that you need. To run something in a Google Colab environment, you would hit that guy. And then it's going to run and do a bunch of stuff. First, it has to connect up to Google's computers. The nice thing about running Hugging Face and large language models from Google Colab is you are using Google's computers, not your own. This can all be done on your own local computer. However, this is another way to do it. You let somebody else foot the bill. You'll end up with some errors. LLMs work best on GPUs. GPUs are designed for floating point arithmetic, and LLMs like floating point arithmetic because everything they do has to do with chunking words into tokens, and there's a lot of mathematical manipulation going on. So the LLM doesn't read successfully installed. It chunks it up into tokens and assigns values to it, all math. We are just going to stick with using the CPU version. So don't worry about changing the runtime. We're just going to leave it at, if you go to runtime, you can change your runtime type. We are going to leave it on CPU. And we're also on Python 3 runtime, which is the default when you start doing a Python IPython notebook and Colab. Well, it talks about the company, and there's hundreds of thousands. And I didn't put periods here. But it is. They're popular. They're open source. You can experiment a lot with them. You can download them and put them on your own computer. All kinds of stuff. So this is our first program. We're downloading and installing the sentiment analysis pipeline. What it does is it tokenizes. Remember I said how things get sliced up into little packets and numbers get assigned to them? And at the end, it's going to look at the sentence that you typed in and say, is it positive or is it negative? And I think this is actually from some of Hugging Face's stuff. So here is the program. We're going to run it. The first time you run it, it might take a little while because it has to download the model and all that, which I'm specifying this particular model. So it may take a moment, but you just go do something else for a bit and then it'll be done. Didn't take long to download. It's not a very big large language model. Now we enter text to be classified. So I like to teach computer science. Let's see how that classifies. Press enter. And it says love. That's the label. And it's 60%. Let's try running it again. It's asking for another one. Let's say, I love to teach. Let's see what that does. Oh, yeah, much better. So like is not the same as love, apparently. Yeah, we'll run another one, see if we can get a negative one. I don't like, oops. I don't like meetings. There, disapproval, and it thinks it's 80% accurate. Well, that's interesting. One of the things that you want to do, this is a different model than we had before. Oh no, it's exactly the same. Let's go here. Yep, so we already replaced the code. Oh, that's right, I replaced it earlier. Let's go take a pause for a second. I must have been doing a class. If you don't have any model specified, then you get whatever it thinks should be there. And here's another one I had with a different model that does gibberish detector. So I'll say one of the things I did before. I don't like meetings. And it says negative. So it's not, this one probably says negative or positive is my guess. So it's not as sophisticated or it's not as specific. I love teaching. Let's see what that one does. There we go. So this one just does positive and negative, while this one, which we used earlier, has a lot more emotions to it. So try it out. Try the different ones. Try this one. See how well it works. Go to Hugging Face and look up some other models. In Hugging Face, they categorize. I do want to visit that page. Maybe it's going to let me go. There. So this is just one of hundreds and hundreds of models. If you go to models, oh my gosh, look at all these. Computer vision, multimodal, natural language processing, table question answering. Oh my gosh. There's thousands. In fact, there's more than I thought. There's 1.5 million different models that you could try out. So yes, try them out. See how fun they are. All right, so we're going to, here we go. We're going to explore different models. So find one that you like, stick it up in here, or make a copy of this code so you have different models to go. This one is called a sequence-to-sequence model. So this one is a little bit different. This summarizes an article. So we first have to run this. It's going to default to whatever this model is, distill, whatever, which that's fine. It's taking a sec. The good news is all this big stuff that we're downloading, this 1.2 gig, It's downloading to Google, so we don't have to store it on our computer. That's a good thing. All right, we're using a non-recommended pipeline or transformer. That's fine. You can put one in if you want. The ones that aren't recommended work just fine. So we are going to, this is an article copied from somewhere. Regardless of whatever article it is, if you go down here and run this, it'll give you a summary of the article, which LLMs do. They do summaries. This is how they do it. They train their models on specific things. Now, ChatGPT and Copilot, they are gigantic, huge models. They can do a little bit of everything very good. Now, a specific model can do 1 or 2 or 5 things really, really well. But see, this did a good job of, making this whole thing into a synopsis. Well, let's do a chatbot. Let's run this and download all this gunk again. Well, it's a good idea to run it each time you do it. That way you get, because things change all the time. AI, LLMs are changing so fast that nobody can keep track of it. It's just getting crazy out there. Oh, it already is crazy. All right, so we're not using input. This is a demo program. You could change this to be input and enter whatever you want. So we'll go ahead and send that in. What is computer science? And there it is, a branch of mathematics that deals with computing. You know that Copilot and everything else runs much faster. They're using GPUs instead of CPUs, and they have a lot more computing time. I mean, they have server farms upon server farms. And then we have another conversation where we're asking, I didn't use GPU on this because for some reason, I don't know, it wasn't worth the effort to get the GPU working. Yep, it's a study of algorithms, which it is. Algorithms are specific solutions to problems. And there it is. There's our conversation. So can we do data? Lots of data sets. What is a data set? Well, let's find out. And we're installing data sets, and we're installing data sets. Now we're going to import some information. We're going to import an emotion data set. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that download. All right, we'll do that. We're going to zoom in on it to see what's in there. Now you can see this is a bit of how things get broken down. So the features are that it can do these things. These are the labels that it can do. And it can do various pieces like that. So in this case, we have sadness out of this one, wherever the text is. Well, there's huge models, there's small models, there's models all over the place. Many of them are free. There's a lot of extra course materials. There's AI courses everywhere. The idea of this is just to kind of give you a start on how does an LLM work and what are its pieces. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you later.